voice, clap one time. If you can hear my voice, clap 2 times. If you can hear my voice, join me in singing happy birthday to Cassandra Arnold. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Cassandra. Happy birthday to you. So, welcome everyone. My name is Carla Denise Armbrister Edwards, and I am so pleased to be here with you this evening. And so I would love to wait till all the hugs and kisses are done, but in Miami, we like to hug and kiss a lot. So we want to get this show on the road. So if you can hear me, clap 1 time. If you can hear me, clap 2 times. Fantastic. So I'm Carla Denise Armbrister Edwards. I'm the Chief Administrative Officer. I have the esteemed pleasure of not only working with our Honorable Mayor, Daniella Levine Cava, but also an incredible team of administrators across Miami-Dade County government, as well as with our Board of County Commissioners. I'd like to welcome you here on behalf of the Mayor, Miami-Dade County, and our commissioners. I'd also like to say a proud shout out and thank you to all of the elected officials who are here with us this evening, as well as our department directors, our other staff, particularly those from the engagement team that Cassandra Arnold runs, that helps us put on these incredible conversations with Cava. So thank you all for being here. Particularly like to thank our library staff for hosting us today. If we could just give a round of applause to the North Dade Library. Because we're starting just a few minutes late and we have people on Zoom, we have a lot of people here in the room, I'm just gonna jump right in. I would like to welcome one of the people who I think is the bee's knees. She's the bee's knees because she has dedicated her entire life to serving community. Our esteemed Mayor, Daniella Levine Cava, has worked in the private sector as a nonprofit leader, as an attorney, and as a commissioner. And she has spent the last several years leading this county through good times and through bad. And I think the sign of a good leader is the one who shows up every day, regardless of the circumstances. And so she's here today to talk about how we are navigating through our current situation. Sisters, okay? Okay. All right. Leading us through our current circumstances and how she's going to help us get to the other side. So I would like to not waste another minute and have Mayor Cava come to the stage and greet us. Thank you.
All right. Well, good evening, everyone. What a joy to see this room all full of wonderful community leaders of all sorts, including our county leadership team and the government. So they're here to help and answer questions, and I'm very, very proud of all of them. And I'm mostly excited that members of the public have shown up today to learn more about our budget process, and to share your concerns with us. So I'm going to be sitting up here all by my lonely on the stage in just a minute. But before I do, let me make sure to acknowledge that our wonderful councilwoman from Miami Gardens, Linda Julian, is with us in the house. Please stand up. So we're really happy that you're here. Thank you so much for the honor. And we also have representative from Commissioner Vicky Lopez's office, Ryan Alvarez. Where are you, Ryan? There in the back. Very good. So if you have any questions for the commissioner, you can certainly speak with Ryan. And as we go through the program today, I'll be acknowledging many of the staff, directors who are here, and others, so you'll have a chance to speak to them further if you have any questions or comments. So with that, I'm going to settle myself into this little chair here. Thank you for the lovely introduction, Chief Carla Denise Edwards. Thank you. And she is in charge of moderating today's program. Thank you so much. And we have with us, I'll just acknowledge my cabinet members who are present. That's Chief Arnold Palmer, who, if you could just stand. All right. So he has our public safety portfolio, as well as animal services and housing. And Carla Denise Edwards has all of our operational portfolio. That includes our budget, our procurement, our maintenance of our property through our people and internal operations department, our internal compliance, and communications and IT department. So, and all of the directors of those departments are present as well. So that's great. And then we have my chief of staff, Chris Hudwalker, in the back there. Wave, Chris. And he now has in his portfolio library and cultural affairs, and both of those directors are here as well. And did I see Roy? There's Roy Coley. He's our deputy mayor. There he is in the back with a yellow tie. And he has airport, seaport, transportation, public works, our building department, RER, DERM, our environmental department. What am I missing? Water and sewer, and Department of Solid Waste Management, all again represented here. So that's kind of a quick tour of county government. So thank you so much to our leadership for being present as well. So I think most of you in the room have met me before, right? Very few of you are new to me, and thank you who've come up to say hello and nice to meet you. That's because I am all about engaging the community. It's a partnership, the community and government. We can't do it without you. And so many of you have been to other budget town halls and other meetings that we've convened. How many of you have been to other budget meetings? Oh, wow. All right. You're frequent flyers. We love that. That means you're very educated and informed, and you're also talking to other people, which is really important too. So you're bringing knowledge to your friends and neighbors and family. So we want to get together with you in good times and in bad. We have certain challenges this year, but we also have some great things that have happened. So we want your input and ideas. We have been hosting these meetings. Now I'm in my 6th year, and it's always a joy for me personally to come to the community to have these conversations. This year, we're doing 2 in advance of the budget release. The budget release is this coming Wednesday. And we're virtual, right? Hello out there in virtual land. We had a couple hundred people signed up for the virtual, so hey, how about that? So all told, we could be approaching 500 people participating in today's event. That's really something. And we'll be doing more of these in August as well as virtual, so stay tuned. After the budget is released, we'll have time to really talk through some of the specifics. All right, with no further ado, let's go take a deep dive into the budget process and this year's budget. Like I said, we're releasing it formally next week, but we're going to give you the overview and tell you some of the challenges that we're presenting. So here we go. Next slide. What will we cover today? The budgetary picture right now, the impacts of the vote in November scheduled on property tax reform, if that passes with 60% of the vote statewide, what that will mean for your county services, and what is in your county budget generally, and some of the items that we're going to talk about for this proposed. Our budget years is October through September. So what we're working on now is the budget year that will start October 1. We'll tell you about what we've been doing to save money and create efficiencies. That's the WISE 305 initiative, and our next steps in the budget process. So where are we today, next slide, with the budget process? Every year we balance the budget. We don't print money, we can't have a deficit, we're not the federal government. So we have to live with the money that we have, and to be very clear, that's your money. It's your money, and we want to spend it for your benefit and wisely. By the way, I've just seen that we have our commission auditor with us here. That's Yinka. Yinka, if you could just stand to be recognized. All right. And we also have the director of our Office of OPBA, Christina. All right, there she is. So she's working, these two work closely with our commission as they are the ones that finally pass the budget. The administration proposes it, and then the board debates and votes on it. So they're here to make sure that we give you good information, and also that if there are any questions for them, that they can address them as well. So last year, as in every year, we balanced the budget. It was a challenge. We started out with what we were calling a shortfall of $400 million. That's because with the new constitutional offices, we'll get into that in more detail, we didn't know exactly what they were going to spend. We didn't know what they would not be able to spend, which would then come back to the general fund of the county. So we were waiting. But this year, we took a different approach. We've been working with them now for almost 2 years, and so we went ahead and did our best guess of what monies would come back, so we plugged that into the budget. So we're not talking about a shortfall. We are presenting to you today a balanced budget that has all of the needs that we've identified covered. And of course, as we do this process, we're keeping in mind what are the most critical services that our residents and our businesses rely upon. That is our objective, to continue to provide to you quality services at a price that we can afford. That's the goal, and so you'll be hearing more about how we're doing that in this coming year. I feel very proud that we've done a lot with the dollars that you've invested in our county government, and that we've been able to achieve some great results, but also to be very mindful to spend every dollar wisely. And even we were able to cut taxes, the tax rate, 2 years in a row. And that was during the time when we were doing very well. We had a lot of federal dollars. We knew that people needed that help because cost of living was going up, and we were able to return by lowering the tax rate to the lowest in over 40 years. And we still have that lower tax rate. And so this year, we're proposing to maintain that historically low tax rate, not to go up, but to stay at that same level because of the challenges, which we'll go through. But we're going to continue to operate lean and efficient county government. So just like all of you, we have to look at the revenue that we have and the expenses and make some tough choices. So this year is the year in which we've really tightened our belts. We actually were able to save money this year that we could apply to the coming year's budget because we knew it would be challenging, and we tasked everybody, all of our departments, to save funds, and they did. So we had to look at what was essential, what was less essential, how we could use those dollars more efficiently, how we could collaborate across departments to get better value for the money. And so just like you do at home, that's what we need to do. And that's what our constitutional offices need to do, so we'll be talking some about that. And always, as I said, prioritizing the core services, the ones that you've come to rely upon. We have asked the departments that are funded primarily with property tax, that's our general fund budget or property tax, to keep their budgets within 3% of last year's budget. Now, that might sound generous, but the costs that are built into the county budget go up by 8 to 9% because we have to buy things that cost more money. Our employees have guaranteed, if they're union members, they have contracts that guarantee cost of living increases. So automatically in departments, their natural increases would be at status quo 8%. But we said we can't afford it. And we said to those departments, stay at 3%, which meant they had to find savings. So we're going to tell you a little bit about that as we go forward. All right. Now let's talk about property tax. Next slide. Okay. This is what will happen if the 60% of the voters across the state approve the property tax reform measure that is scheduled to be on the ballot in November. There are some challenges to the language. Probably the language will change, but most likely the matter will be on the budget in November. And we're here to just tell you what the results would be if this does in fact pass. The first year's impact would be $385 million to the county's general fund portion of the budget. And we'll talk later about what portion of the budget that is. But needless to say, it will affect those departments that depend on the property tax revenue. It will affect the level of service that can be provided to the tune of about 10% reduction. In the second year, if this passes, it would be double that. So we're talking in the vicinity of 20%. So very significant reductions to services, and we'll talk about which departments particularly are affected. We just want people to be aware. Obviously, we would all like to pay less in taxes. We'd also like to pay less in insurance, if we can even get property insurance, which is hard to get, and the price has gone up astronomically. If you're renting, you know your rent has gone up astronomically. And by the way, if these property taxes are reduced for homeowners, most likely landlords will end up paying even more, and that will be passed on to renters. So it's more like a cost shift than a tax cut. So we just want you to be aware of the consequences. We're not telling you how to vote. We're just telling you to understand what's involved, because the item itself on the ballot will not go into the details. All right, let's look at the budget in greater detail. Next slide. These are the 5 categories in which all of our programming is organized. And these are our 5 priorities as the county mayor, as a county administration. And this is a new framework reflecting our new strategic plan. So this is the first time that the budget book will have itself organized in these 5 categories. First, an economy that works for all of us, right? That includes housing, help, job training, and I see we have Rick Beasley of CareerSource with us here. If you could stand, Rick, and be recognized. He's in the back of the room. There he is. So CareerSource does a great job of supporting people in their search for work and well-paid work, of course, we're all looking for. And so all of the things that we do to help people and to grow our economy, our airport and our seaport that are our key economic drivers, that's also part of an economy that works for all. Fiscal responsibility and efficiency. Of course, as I've been saying, we have to be good stewards of your money. And that's why we have the WISE 305, and that's why we've been able to save money this year. Each department came up with these cost savings. So everybody across the county, the entire workforce, is looking for ways to save money so we can be responsible for your tax dollars. We have to invest in infrastructure. We can't let the airport fall apart. We can't let our roads fall apart, even though some of you may think we're doing that. Guess what? It's general fund money, and we don't have enough of it to maintain the roads at the level that we would like. Okay. Just as we go through, our airport director I saw is here. Where did he go? Ralph Coutier? Didn't I see him there? No, he's not here. Okay, but we have other representatives here of the airport and the seaport. We have our Director of Transportation and Public Works, Stacy Miller. If you could stand, Stacy. So later, if there's questions about that, of course, all of our departments are represented. Infrastructure. We just met with our state attorney, the public defender, and the head of our courts, and they're telling us that the courthouse is very old and the escalators don't work. More infrastructure to be maintained, and our jails that are old and dangerous. These are things that it's our responsibility to maintain, infrastructure. Of course, we've received a huge amount of money from the federal government, from the ARPA funds during the last administration, and we've used that to good purpose for a lot of infrastructure. Healthy and safe communities. We're so grateful that during the time when the police department was in the county and now with the sheriff's office, we are one of the safest communities in the country. So congratulations to our law enforcement. We have our fire chief with us, Ray Jadala. Ray, if you could wave back there. And we have a lot of bald gentlemen in charge of things. I just must say, I don't know if it's the job, the stress, or what it is. Right? I mean, hey, I'm just noticing, you know, what's kind of obvious here, but okay. But our public safety, which is in Arnold Palmer's portfolio, we just discussed that before, includes the fire, our emergency management department, our corrections. We have Sharia Green, our head of, if you could stand, Sharia, of our corrections and rehabilitation department, which is really winning all kinds of recognition and awards, is doing so well. Congratulations. And of course, our fire department that's there rescuing us from fires in the Everglades. Yes, very good. And recently, our urban search and rescue team that came back from Venezuela after helping there with the rescue effort. So heartbreaking. I know I'm missing others with their healthy and safe. Actually, our community services department that I did not mention earlier, and I saw that Kathy Burgos is here. She's director of that department, and all of our, she's getting a shout out over there from Sharon. Thank you, Sharon. That what we do for social services is part of our social safety net, right? Very, very important. And we have been declared a stigma-free for mental health services, the largest place in the country to declare ourselves stigma-free, and taking all kinds of efforts. Yeah. And by the way, our libraries that are actually a site of social services. And we have our Lydia Lopez Gomez. Lydia, please stand, our library director. Okay, and you know, those of you who go to libraries know that we don't just have books at libraries. We have a whole range of community services that are also part of healthy and safe communities. And risk reduction and resilience, and that includes our environmental department. Do we have somebody here from Durham? We have Rashid Istanbuli, who's our deputy director of Department of Environmental Resources Management, our building department, which is Regulatory and Economic Resources. Do we have someone here? Yes, very good. We have Mario Merlote, very good. And anybody else for risk and resilience? Anyway, all departments play a role in all of these goal areas. And I'm very, very proud of what we have achieved. I didn't mention yet about the housing, and we have Nathan Kogan here. He's our director. Please stand, Nathan. Housing and Community Development. And yeah, see, people know we are really working overtime on housing. I declared a housing affordability crisis and since 2022, and we have put up already 15,000 units of workforce and affordable housing. Please update my notes, communications team. And we have 18,000 units in the pipeline. Not enough, but a really good start. I didn't mention parks. I see Christina White, our parks director here. Thank you, Christina. Please stand and be recognized. How's that for health and safety? Also critically important to everybody's quality of life. So overall, our budget is incredibly a $13 billion budget, and that's before a debt. Thank you, Yinka. All right, so $13 billion, that's a lot of money. It's bigger than many countries. It's bigger than many states. So we're going to tell you a little bit about how we break that down. The capital side, oh, here we go. The capital side of the budget is for major purchases like our buildings, our vehicles, our housing that we purchase as a county, our infrastructure, our equipment. And that is, of the $13 billion, about a third, a little more than a third. The rest, the 2/3, is for our operating expenses. And that is day-to-day, like how we deliver services, how we pay our employees, how we keep the lights on. Then to look at the operating budget, it breaks down into two major categories. The proprietary are the ones where the monies are generated in the department. So they don't come directly from your tax dollars. They come from, at the airport, landing fees, concessionaire fees, the stores at the airport and the like, grants. Our building department is based on fees. Our fire and library have their dedicated millage. Those are all considered proprietary departments. But the others come from general revenue, the majority, 3/4 of which is your property tax money. And it's a fixed amount of money. We can't go out and just sell the service and raise more money like a business. So now let's get into a little bit more detail, next slide, about how we divide up the proprietary and the property tax. This one is hard to see, but I mentioned a few of these. The airport, the seaport, their revenues are generated there. Solid waste is based on fees. If you have your waste picked up by the county, then you're paying a solid waste fee. Water and sewer, if you have our service, you're paying for it. So those are not subsidized by general revenue or property tax. They're paid by the users. On the property tax supported side, the constitutional offices, that includes the sheriff's office, the tax collector, the supervisor of elections, and all three of those offices used to be county departments. And a year and a half ago, was it 2.5 years ago? A year and a half ago, those became independent offices outside of the county, but they still are paid from the same pot of property tax money. No new money came in to create those new offices. And then two others that existed before is the property appraiser and the clerk and comptroller. So those two offices existed before, but the clerk and comptroller has some additional functions which now cost us more than they cost before. So everything is covered from these sources altogether, and that includes your roads, critical neighborhood services, your parks, which is mostly a general fund, again, property tax budget, animal services. Who do we have from animal services here? Thank you. Yay. In the back, raise your hand. Yay, there he is. Okay. Leonel. Did I get it? Thank you very much. Okay, so any animal services questions will go to him. But that's also paid for out of our property taxes. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Discipline, fiscal discipline, belt tightening. Right? We all have to do it. All right. So we know that looking ahead, we have another tough year to balance. And to prepare for it, we asked our departments to save. And all the course of the year, they were able to identify $42 million of savings from belt tightening. Very proud of that. Let's give them a round of applause. And that is why I told you before, we told our general fund budgets, the vast majority, to stay at 3%, which was no kind of easy. By the way, I didn't introduce Francis. Last name? Morrison. Okay, if you could just stand. Francis is here on behalf of the Water and Sewer Department. She's our CFO. Okay, so and we have Anisha Daniel, the head of Department of Solid Waste Management. Please stand, Anisha, so they can see you. Okay, so these two ladies, they both spend your dollars wisely. I'll put it like that. But it's fee generated, not general fund. Okay, so just like we've done this belt tightening, we've asked our partners in the constitutionals to do the same. So when you see our proposed budget, you'll see that we've tried to keep their growth at a reasonable level, understanding their responsibilities, of course, but they don't report to us, but in essence, their budget is approved by the county commission as part of the overall budget. So it's important that we look at it together. The only one that comes in at the end is the tax collector, and the tax collector gets the money first, collects 2% off the top of all the revenues. And by the way, not just for the county government, for the school system, for the Children's Trust, for any other special districts, the tax collector collects all of that and can collect a fee from all of it to pay for the costs of conducting that office. But anything that any of these offices are not able to spend in their budget year comes back to the general fund. So part of what we've had to do is estimate what that would be so we could put it into the budget numbers. Okay. And by the way, this is an ongoing project. We're not going to stop at this. We're going to continue to find savings. We're hard at work on the WISE 305 initiative. I didn't introduce Namita Upal, our Chief Procurement Officer and Director of our Procurement Office. Thank you. And I didn't introduce Basil Binns, who is here also on behalf of the airport, our Deputy Director. Basil, if you could stand, please, to be recognized. All right. Okay. Let me mention a little bit about the next slide, please. Essential government services. Next slide. Thank you. All right. If you're on our solid waste program under Anisha Daniel's direction, you expect your garbage to be picked up, right? Twice a week. And your recycling, I hope you're recycling once every 2 weeks. I personally have 2 recycling bins and only 1 garbage bin, if I could just brag a little. Okay? I also compost at home. We have to reduce our waste, and we're putting out a zero waste master plan that will be introduced later this month. The 31st, we're going to have a workshop. We want to invite all of you right now, and we're hoping that we can continue to divert waste because, you know, we're running out of space at that landfill. We don't have a place to burn it like we used to, and recycling is a critical part. We have been improving our recycling rate, but we're not where we need to be. So we really want everybody to get on board. And by the way, you don't need to buy water in bottles. We've got the best water anywhere. All right, right, Francis? Okay, it's coming from your tap, and a lot of places just put that water in a bottle. Come on, get with the program. Get a reusable water bottle. Okay, very good. So you expect your trash to be picked up. You expect your water to flow through the tap and be cleaned and your toilets to flush. These are things you expect from your county. You also expect to be safe and that your law enforcement is going to be there to protect you and respond if there is a crime. You expect your fire department to respond timely. And by the way, they are timely. We have been recognized as the top large fire department in the country. Yes. 2 applause rounds for fire. Very good. You expect us to maintain the housing that is in our portfolio and take care of the residents. You expect our roads to be safe and our transit to be efficient and run on time. All of those things and our libraries are supported by your dollars in one way or another. And as we build this budget, we want to be lean and mean, but we want to make sure that you can rely upon all of those things. We have proposed an increase in waste fee pickup because it costs more to do it. And we also have to build for the future, and there's infrastructure. So far, the county commission has not agreed to that. And we have told the county and the public that if we do not have this modest fee, which is in the range of about $14 per year per household, all year, $14, just saying, 2 coffees at Starbucks, especially with the vanilla foam that I just got today, very delicious. Thank you. Then we're going to have to cut service. We're going to have to cut back on illegal dumping, which we've been really getting better at identifying illegal dumpers. We're going to have to cut back on enforcement and other things that may be sacrificed. We have also proposed an increase in water. That water increase is a little bit more. We have one of the lowest water rates in the country and some of the best water. Why do we need an increase in water? It has not yet been considered by the commission. I'm going to bring it up next week at our board meeting. The reason, the week after next, the reason is that we are obligated to keep our water clean and our waterways clean. We are under federal court oversight and state legislative oversight to make sure we don't pollute. And our pipes are old and they need to be replaced. And so much of our infrastructure is under renovation. And we have projects, contracts underway. If we do not get this increase, we will have to stop many of those projects, and it will put our water at risk. So we hope that our commission, understanding that it's a hardship for people to pay more, but also recognizing that we have an obligation to you to maintain our water clean, and an obligation to the federal and state government to meet our obligations there as well. Okay, next slide. I'm going to tell you a little bit about the ways that we have actually saved you money through our WISE. I told you the dollar figure, $43 million this year. But like I say, it's not going away. We're keeping it up. We're eliminating duplication, we're consolidating where possible, we're sourcing innovative ideas from our workforce, we're partnering with the Miami-Dade Innovation Authority, which is a nonprofit that we helped create to lead innovation in government. Through them, we've improved navigation at the airport, we've worked on traffic remediation, we've worked on composting, we've worked on the port, finding more ways to deal with our cargo so we could grow our cargo. What other great things did we do through Miami-Dade Innovation? It's great. I'm very proud of our partnership with our departments coming up with innovative things we can do that save time and money. We also, at the airport, have added some automated information booths. This has saved us already 260 staff hours. We haven't done it for very long, so it's new, and 4,500 after-hour messages, meaning that people can get the information they need. The airport never sleeps, and they can get the information they need. In our People and Internal Operations Department, we saved $15 million. And did I introduce Raimundo Delgado? Please stand. Raimundo, our director of that department. Thank you. In his department, they are performing maintenance and repair services in-house rather than outsourcing to contract vendors, and that alone has saved us $15 million. And sitting next to Raimundo is George Olazabal, the director of our communications and IT department. There's George. And I know he saved a bunch of money too through some consolidations. And by the way, we also make money in that department because we provide services to some municipalities that actually pay us to do good IT work. That's important as well. We also cut our fuel cost by $4 million through our strategic fuel procurement compared to the retail fuel pricing, and thank you to Namita Paul for leading that effort. Now I want to do a big brag. We just put out a memo today about how much money we've saved by having an outstanding credit rating. So when we borrow money, right, we get a score, a credit score from lots of different credit bodies. And in the last few years, 13 of our credit scores have gone up. We're in the A plus, A double plus range across the board. And with that, we saved county taxpayers more than $800 million, almost $1 billion. So another way that we are being wise stewards of your money. Okay, so what's next? Next slide. Where do we go from here? We're submitting the proposed budget next week. There's the millage. That's the rate that you pay for property tax on the value of your homes. As I mentioned, we're proposing to keep it flat, not to increase the rate, but not to lower it either. That will be adopted first. There's 2 votes. First vote on July 21st by the commission as the maximum millage. They could later agree to reduce it, but they can't increase it. Whatever they do next week, on the 21st, is the maximum. Then property trim notices will go out to homeowners in August, and we will hold officially 6 public in-person meetings throughout the county. As well, we will have virtual participation and at others. And then in September, there are 2 budget hearings. They take place in the evening. How many of you have been to budget hearings? Oh yes, you're a very experienced crowd. One year, I think we were done in an hour and a half. Or something crazy. But generally, they go long into the night. Somebody's got a little hand up there. A little person went to a budget hearing. Very good. Okay. So you can come to both of them, either or both, and you can speak as to your issues or concerns, as well as if you choose to say thank you or praise something that's in the budget. We don't mind that at all. So there'll be more information, and we will send, if you've signed up, you're on our list, you will get a special invite. We're going to go to questions in just a moment, but first, our Chief Edwards is going to guide us in how we go forward. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. So let's give the mayor another round of applause. That was fantastic. So while the mayor was speaking, we had a few more dignitaries walk in the room. I'd really like to welcome Representative Ashley Gantz. Someone from her office is here. I think her name is Arena. Would you wave to Arena? Thank you. And then Town A, the council and head of Chancery for Bangladesh, is here as well. Yes. I thought I saw him.
I thought I had.
But yes, awesome. Welcome. Thank you for being here. And also the mayor's chief of staff, Chris, who should
him.
Wave to the people. Wave to the people. Awesome.
I did recognize
Yes.
him.
So, housekeeping. We are going to take questions, and we have mic runners. I already see hands going up. The mic runners are going to give out sticky notes, and we have 3 sections of questions. So we have section 1, section 2, and then we have Zoom. Is it not loud enough? Okay. Testing. Much better. Louder. Okay, I'm going to do that over again. We're going to take questions, and we're going to have 3 sections of questions. Section 1, Section 2, Section Zoom. The first 10 people will be able to ask questions in each section. If you're interested in asking a good question, you can raise your hand and we'll give you a sticky. There are just a few rules, so if you can't follow the rules, put your hand down.
We do have a couple of chairs up here,
Yes.
I just want to point out.
Right, so we're only going to have one person speak at a time. It's really important that the mayor and the departments are able to hear the question. It's also really to be cognizant of the fact that there are a lot of us and we have a lot of participation, so we'd like for you to limit your question to 1 minute. It's really tempting to want to make a speech, but we really want to be able to answer as many questions as possible. And so I know everyone in here will be respectful of their fellow residents. As we facilitate this, we're also taking notes, and so it'll be helpful to be quiet when the question is being answered so we can take notes. And if you've spoken at a previous presentation, if you were there on Monday, I think it would be really courteous to let others who have not had a chance to speak have a turn this evening. So those are the housekeeping items that I'd like to share, and I think the runners are going around handing out numbers. There's one other rule, which is the mic runners are going to hold the microphone, and what I've learned is you got to hold it like a rock star. So Jason and Melanie are going to hold it, but you got to speak into it like you're a rock star so people can actually hear you. All right? And so shall I start on Jason's team?
Okay,
Number 1.
I'm so sorry. I just failed to mention a couple of our directors that are sitting right in front of me. Ray Baker is our director of the Office of Management and Budget. So he's been feverishly working on the budget since he came onto the job. And Ashley Thomas, who is our interim director of culture and cultural affairs.
Yes.
Very good.
Absolutely. Also, I did hear a couple really exotic phone ringings earlier. So if you can turn your phone down, that would also be helpful because we are recording this. So Team Jason, number 1, and then Team Melanie, queued up number 1.
Hi, Mrs. Mayor, Madam Mayor Cava. Let me just first mention, you are one of the nicest political figures I've ever dealt with, honestly. So you know who I am. I'm Alexander Carlos. So I do have to ask you this question. There is a $94 million shortfall in the budget. Why don't you cut, I did a tabulation, over $300 million in non-union employees. That's what you got in salaries for the entire Miami-Dade County government working. That's not including the constitutional offices. Why don't you cut some of those salaries? And if you do that, it's going to help and eliminate that budget shortfall. Okay?
Okay.
And that's all I want to ask.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question, and thank you for the compliment. I appreciate it very much. We don't have a shortfall. We have a balanced budget. So what we have put together has cuts that have been made, including the elimination of a lot of vacancies that have been available for a while, and the departments have determined that they've been able to do without those personnel, so they've actually cut those positions from the budget. So that is number 1. As far as the salaries that we pay, we have had a difficult time maintaining employees sometimes when there's competition for the jobs. For example, our bus operators. We had to make sure that the transit system could work. So we needed to be able to pay a competitive salary compared to jobs that drivers could get elsewhere. In corrections, we were competing with Broward for corrections officers. Law enforcement, the same. So many of our salaries are set based on what it takes to be able to recruit and retain qualified employees.
Thank you for the question. Team Melanie, number 1. Number 2.
Our moms work for Jewish Community Services of South Florida. the community's safety net.
For more than 100 years, JCS has been helping older adults in our community. They make sure seniors have healthy meals, support, and caring people to help them stay safe and live independently. Many older adults don't always have enough food or the help they need, and JCS makes a big difference in their lives.
Today, I would like to ask you to please continue supporting community organizations like JCS. Your funding helps organizations care for older adults and also bring in even more money for other sources, allowing them to help many more people. Thank you, Mama Mayor.
What was the last one?
He said, thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, Mama Mayor, he said.
Well, first of all, can we just give a big round of applause? Yes. Yes. Not only did these young people speak very clearly and directly to a concern, but they are learning how to be civically involved. That is so important. So thank you so much for bringing them. Thank you to Jewish Community Services that provides essential services in our community, also operates our 211 hotline, so people who need access to services, they can call 211 and learn what is the place that they could get help. Very important. And also, JCS brought together a group of nonprofits as a coalition to make sure that the county would continue to provide services through grant money, and in fact was very successful in making that happen last year. And it is in our proposed budget to maintain the same level of services for the nonprofits that were in last year's budget going forward. Thank you so much.
Great question. All right, Team Melanie on Zoom. Oh, Michelle, Team Michelle on Zoom.
Team Michelle. So we have a question from our Zoom, and this question is from Ms. Isol Rodriguez. And she is asking, and I'm going to read it word for word. Last year, you presented a $12.93 billion proposed budget in July. The adopted book prints $13.23 billion and $299 million more, including $2 million for Seaport Fuel Facility, read into the record the night of the vote. None of the ordinances adopted that night states the final total. For this cycle, at what point will residents hear the final number out loud before the vote?
Thank you very much to this very close reader of our budget. And I'm going to defer to our budget director to help us to answer this question. And here comes Jason with the microphone.
Yeah, I don't know that we were aware of any discrepancy in the overall budget numbers that were adopted. The budget that comes out in July does vary a little bit from where it's finally adopted in September. So I would be more than happy to talk to her about where she's seeing that discrepancy.
Michelle, are we able to follow up with the individual specifically? Okay, yeah. But I think that's an important point that Ray Baker, our budget director, makes. When we put out the budget in July, it's our proposed budget. The budget is not final until it's adopted at the second budget hearing in September. And those are the final numbers. So we put out a revised budget document with those new numbers.
Excellent. So Team Jason, number 3.
Mayor, thank you for your support of age-friendly work in Miami-Dade County. The age-friendly initiative has helped drive meaningful improvements in housing, transportation, parks, and community planning. As our population continues to grow and age, will you support continued county funding for the initiative in the upcoming budget?
Thank you so much, and you represent AARP, which is the largest membership organization in the world. And I'm a proud member. Me too. You too, okay. So it is obviously very critical that we provide for our community as they age. And I am proud that we have a very robust program in our own Community Services Department. You met previously Kathy Burgos, who could tell you more about the services that we provide directly. And I think we did check Monday at our first budget town hall, and I think, did we confirm, Ray? He's double checking as to if it was in last year's budget, then it should be in this coming year's proposed budget as well.
Fantastic. Number 4, and then I'd like to make sure we have queued up the Zoom, and then queued up number 5, okay?
Okay, over here. Hello, Mayor. I appreciate the work you've been doing with tightening the budget due to many factors, but just like last year, the residents, we haven't gotten a say about the Miami-Dade investment portfolio. Last year, we had to chase down the commissioners, the comptrollers regarding the investment bonds to Israel, specifically the more issue with investing in a foreign state, committing a genocide, and the bond being an overall junk status. Have you decided, will you proceed with your comptroller who just invested more money into Israel last week?
Thank you for the question, and yes, we did talk a lot about that last year with the clerk and comptroller now responsible for those decisions. I had understood that some bonds hadn't been renewed. I don't know, is there a representative here from the clerk's office to speak to that? But that is basically not, it's the decision is being made now at the clerk and comptroller's office.
So you can follow up with that office.
Yes,
we can help you get in touch
yes,
with
we'll
them.
help you to follow up. So
Absolutely.
we'll be sure to give you that.
So we will go to Team Michelle Zoom.
Our Zoom. All right, we have a question from Ms. Angeline Alvarez. Her question is, how will the county support nonprofits? Since the last budget cycle, they were cut dollars to the nonprofits.
So thank you. I did mention that the budget this year in our proposed will cover the same nonprofits that were funded in this current year's budget. So we had created a category we said was legacy nonprofits. Those were the ones that had competed last time we did a competitive round, as well as some that had been in the budget over multiple years, demonstrating the long-term support from the county. And we have left it in our proposed at that level. So the final decision obviously will be made by the commission, as I've stated, but we haven't proposed a cut.
All right, Team Jason, number 5, and then let's queue up Team Melanie, number 6.
Good evening, Mayor, and thank you for your support and all you've been attempting to do. One of the problems for Miami Gardens residents as far as supporting you is the fact that you are donating $46 million to FIFA. And that just makes no sense to us because it's to the detriment of Miami Gardens residents, including the fact that it has been a reduction in bus services in Miami Gardens. So with all the things that you're doing, it's not trickling down to Miami Gardens. So, but just, if you could just address that $46 million.
Yes, thank you. So the World Cup, right, played 7 games here, and the county commission did vote to support hosting the games and being one of the cities. The county commission also voted funds particularly to support the Fan Fest in downtown Miami so that people who could not afford or didn't have tickets to go to the game, as well as some parties around the county. And of course, the games are not over yet, so they're still going on. So it is expected to have an economic benefit so that it would be paid back in economic activity, as well as visibility in terms of long-term how the community showed up to the world. So it was a choice that was made, and obviously some would say not the right choice because we have other needs, but it was one that was made based on long-term investment. And so again, a board decision. We hope that it will yield long-term economic benefits. That is projected to be the case. You know, I've also been asking how it may have impacted Miami Gardens. obviously as the host city in actual fact. I don't know if you have anything you'd like to say to it, Councilwoman? What, any part of it?
Thank you. And so it's impacted us greatly. We've heard from a number of residents who are, in fact, hi, Mr. Deborah, right? Good to see you. We've heard from a couple of residents who have complained, of course, about the traffic, right, which is inevitable. We totally understand that in working with our administration every single day to make sure that we can cure that. But as it relates to economic impact, a lot of our nonprofits and a lot of our business owners and restaurants around the community have had to shut their doors because they've run out of food to sell or they've run out of product to sell. And so the economic impact from the feedback that I've received, it's been great.
You know, I want to mention as well that some of those funds are used for public safety. Obviously, we've had to have a very big presence to manage those crowds, as well as transportation. And we put on a bus system and shuttle system that greatly reduced traffic. I would dare say, other than the fact that roads were closed off, which I know is a great inconvenience, that the traffic was better for the games than it was for a regular football game on occasion, because we don't have that same investment to manage the crowds. So, you know, it is certainly a burden on the local community, and that is well recognized.
Number 6.
Good afternoon, Madam Mayor.
Good afternoon.
Thank you for your hard work and dedication trying to balance a budget, because that's some hard work to do, to balance a budget. Some of the people in this room can't balance their own home budget. Like me, I'm trying. But Madam Mayor, please, for wraparound services, all of these CBOs that you're giving money to, funding to, for wraparound services, Madam, number one, here's a young lady right here who's about to be evicted out of public housing. She has a substance abuse problem. She needed help. Where was the wraparound services from public housing community service, which is housing and community services? She's about to be homeless and with her 1-year-old daughter. This is not fair. So we need more money. We need more money for community service department. And I would like to thank Kathy Burgos, because I called her at 11 o'clock one night. She answered the phone on the Monday night. She answered her phone because this young lady needs some help.
Thank you, Sharon.
So we need more money in community service department.
Well, first of all, thank you to you, because you have been a lifelong advocate and you have always worked so hard and served on boards to make sure. Yes. Okay, I know. She's saying the higher power. I got it. But thank you. And, you know, we are bound in our public housing by federal laws. And federal laws have become stricter over the years. And we could talk to Nathan Kogan, our housing director, to make sure that everything was followed correctly. But notwithstanding that, yes, we need to help people. And that is why we do have a community services department. And that is why we have social services with, there she goes, Dolores Holly. I was about to look for her. This lady is our lead in the division on the Office of Housing Advocacy. And it is her team's job to help people exactly in this situation. So thank you to our Housing and Community Development for making sure that we could provide that support.
Yes, and thank you, Sharon, for being an advocate. So let's go to Team Zoom.
All right, thank you. Our next question is from Josh Stevenson. In light of the county's budget crisis and the impending loss of property tax revenue, why is the comptroller continuing to make investments in risky Israel bonds?
All right, I think that was the question that was asked by this gentleman before, if we're talking about Israel bonds. And I can't answer to the question. I do know that originally the county commission authorized the purchase of those bonds. And at this time, the decision-making is in a different office. The decision-making is in a different office.
All right, Team Jason, 7, and then let's queue up Team Melanie, number 8.
Hi, Mayor. Thank you so much for hosting this public My question is also about the investment policy, but it's slightly different. Like other folks have mentioned, we have $141 million invested in Israel bonds. That's a decision that is made by the county comptroller, Juan Fernandez Barquin. Last week, on July 1st, the comptroller decided to send another $11 million to Israel. That's money that's tied up in the Israeli treasury that we don't have access to for the next 3 years. I know that obviously that decision is not yours, but as mayor, would you encourage the county commission to to amend the investment policy to prohibit investments in foreign governments?
Well, thank you for bringing that point. I do think that this is also guided by state law, as I understand it. Since we're not currently involved in making those decisions, I'm not familiar with what investment had been made. So, certainly we can direct your comment to the commissioners, and we do have a representative of one of our commissioners here to see if that's something that they would choose. But I do think, and I'm sure you're aware, that there is state law that also governs policy towards investment in Israel.
Thank you for your question. Number 8.
Good afternoon.
Mr. Bay.
Madam. I usually speak on the subject of our fair share, for those of you who have been to these meetings. But I'm here tonight to ask the mayor and all the department heads for the assistance in correcting a major issue of racial exclusion. We're going to talk about that uncomfortable subject, that race subject. So I want to draw your attention to the major race-based economic practices of exclusion at Bayside and Bayfront Park. I know that's the city, but last time I checked, it was inside the county. So, 24 seconds. So out of the $585 million over the last 3 years that was not delivered to the 17% black community in Miami-Dade County, 17% is the population of Miami-Dade County of black folks who did not receive the $585 million.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you for being such a strong advocate. I can't speak to the city, as you said, the city's policy. So I'm not really clear what exactly was the investment that you're saying wasn't made. I will tell you that in Miami-Dade County, we are committed to inclusion and opportunity. We are being restricted in exactly how we do that in terms of our words. We are going to be starting January 1, not able to focus on diversity, equity, or inclusion programming, but it does not take away from our commitment to make sure that we are inclusive across all of our communities, all of our neighborhoods, and we're currently exploring how to continue to do that, even given the state's prohibitions.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I'm going to go to Team Zoom and
All right.
queue up 9 and 10.
Thank you. This question is from Fernanda Jorgensen. If the property tax proposal passes, how is the county thinking about being proactive and prepared for next year and beyond?
Thank you for that question, and we are already thinking about it. Of course, we hope that the public will understand the implications and vote with that knowledge. We are looking at providing more detailed potential impacts so that people can be fully informed. So that's the first thing that we're doing. But we are mindful that should it pass, that it will mean that we would have to, in the coming budget year, have to start to take actions. So the vote is in the first week in November, so just a month after we start our new budget year. And if the tax reform does pass, we will get to work immediately seeking ways that we will address it through service cuts, staff reductions, and everything necessary to comply with the law.
All righty. Team Jason, number 9.
Hi, I'm LaShonda West. I am a survivor of gun violence.
And I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Just to be clear, it would not take effect if passed until the following year, but we would not wait till the following year to implement it. We would have to begin to take austerity measures in the upcoming budget year. So it wasn't clear. I apologize. Yes, please.
Hi, I'm LaShonda West. I am a survivor of gun violence. Thank you, Madam Mayor, for sustaining a partnership with Miami-Dade County Public Schools in regards to youth engagement and public safety. Will the county budget include the continued funding of violence prevention programs such as PAL and STAND, and are there other safety measures forthcoming?
Well, thank you so much. And of course, we are very concerned about gun violence, and I'm so sorry for your own situation. And thank you for being here and telling us your story. Yes, we have to work with young people. We have to work to educate them about the risks associated with possession of guns, use of guns. I'm not familiar specifically with the programs that you mentioned. I don't know, you are, Kathy? Is it going to be, yes, do you want to address that, please? Okay.
Hello, good evening. Through the advocacy of our mayor, we are continuing to support our Peace and Prosperity Plan,
Peace
Mayor.
and Prosperity, yes, of
That
course.
also includes a partnership with our Sheriff's Office, working directly with at-risk and arrested children, also through your work, Mayor, our no wrong door approach through our Juvenile Assessment Center, addressing the needs of children within our civil citation program, which we're a national model. So to answer your question, yes, we have a lot of innovative programming through our Community Services Department, and yes, we will be funding through the mayor's work. The proposed budget does include juvenile and addressing their needs.
Excellent, excellent. Thank
Yeah,
you,
and I
Kathy.
want to mention that our juvenile services work in the county is also award-winning. We have a very comprehensive approach working with family and community, and low recidivism rate for youth that are involved in crime or violence. And I'd like to introduce Rahel Welda Jesus. I saw you here somewhere, Rahel. She's out there. Okay, all right. She is one of our experts on the subject of violence prevention. Wave again. So if you want to talk specifically to her about all the different ways that we're approaching violence prevention, she's your gal.
Excellent.
Very good.
All right, number 10, and then to Zoom.
Good evening, Mayor, and thank you for all
Good
that you
evening.
do for the community.
Thank you.
I have a question about road construction. I live in the area of Liberty City, which is now called Gladeview, but I have lived there for 53 years. And I've seen things come and I've seen things go. It used to be considered the worst part of the community to live in, along with Overtown. Now everyone is interested in Liberty City. Everyone wants to build. Everyone wants to come into the community and do regentrify, is what I call it. But my question is, there's a lot of road construction going on in that area where I live. And it seems like, I want to say about 2 years ago, 22nd Avenue Northwest, 79th Street, between 71st Street and 95th Street, and then along 17th Avenue between, I'm sorry. Okay, so my question is there a timeline for road projects to be completed, or are they allowed to linger until the contractors get around to it?
Thank you.
Thank you so much, and I'm so happy to hear, first of all, that we are repairing roads in your area. So it's because so many are clamoring for that. But I will say this, we do post information about public works projects and with the timeline. I have asked our department to use QR codes wherever possible, because we're usually posting signs. Sometimes the QR codes get hijacked and corrupted, which is very surprising to me. Wouldn't know how anyone would do that. But would you like to say anything further, Director Miller?
Right
Okay,
here,
we can bring
in
you
the
the
front.
mic. Yeah. And you can speak to her directly, and she could follow up on the specifics
And
of your
I'd
neighborhood.
be more than happy to talk to you. Obviously, as the Madam Mayor mentioned, we do post our information regarding the construction timelines. I don't have the information specifically with me about those two particular projects, but I'm happy to take the information and respond back to you directly. But we do have a great deal of our information is on the Department of Transportation and Public Works website.
It's a great, great resource. So I think I'm Zoom Team Michelle, right?
Here we are back in Zoom, yes. And Mayor, I believe you've answered this question before, but there are several questions here regarding Israel bonds. And so I'll go ahead and put one more out there. I know that you've responded, but I wanted to give this opportunity to the questionnaire here on Zoom, asking you what steps are you willing to commit to bring funds home to invest here instead of Israel and invest them in our community?
Well, thank you again for that question. You know, again, our clerk and comptroller is making these decisions, but I will remind the caller of the fact that our bond portfolio is performing so well in general that we've saved almost $1 billion. So I don't know what percentage of the portfolio is going in that direction versus the size of the portfolio. But overall, decisions have been made. And by the way, why do we get higher credit ratings? Because we are considered to be well managed financially. We are audited, we get reports, it shows that the bond market has confidence in the management of our money, and that is how our bond rating, our credit ratings go up, and we're able to reinvest the money, save money, again, not to that specific set of bond questions, but overall, that we have been recognized for our strong fiscal stewardship through our Office of Management and Budget.
Excellent. So I'm queuing up 11, 12, Team Zoom, and then we'll go to 13.
Hello, my name is Renee Pesci, and I'm here tonight on behalf of the thousands of artists, nonprofit cultural organizations, creative entrepreneurs, and the audiences whose lives are enriched every day by the arts in Miami-Dade. Thank you for your support of the arts and culture in the budget, especially for the past 2 years. As you consider this upcoming budget, I respectfully ask for you to continue investing in one of Miami-Dade County's greatest strengths, our arts and culture community. The arts are far more than entertainment. They are a powerful economic engine that generates more than $2.2 billion in annual economic activity, supports more than 32,000 jobs, attracts millions of visitors, drives tourism and small business growth, strengthens neighborhoods, and improves the quality of life for everyone who calls Miami-Dade home. Maintaining strong funding for the arts and culture is an investment that delivers multiple returns to our economy and to our community. But we have an opportunity to think beyond this budget. Our artists and cultural organizations need stability and certainty.
Thank you so much for your advocacy. Arts and Business Council does a fabulous job of not only supporting the arts, but bringing attention to the arts as a critical piece of our unique dynamism and culture. And I'm very excited about our commitment to the arts. We are, just like the nonprofits in the social service arena, we are continuing the same level of support in our proposed budget that was in this year's budget. We are also going to be doing a strategic planning process for the arts, and I'm very hopeful that we'll be able to identify new revenue sources that will build our future capacity.
Excellent, excellent. All right, 12, all right, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Cava. I am truly one of your biggest fans.
Thank you.
So my question is, an impact study showed the income of the North residents would increase with the North Corridor of the Metro Rail, connection to first-class health care, and a reduction in traffic on I-95. When can the residents expect the completion of the North Corridor of the Metro Rail?
Thank you so much for your advocacy for improved transit. And, you know, the half penny for transit was supposed to be a full penny. And back in the day, long before I was in county government, it was decided to put it before the voters as a half a penny instead of a full penny. And that has led to our inability to build all the things that were promised ever since. And we've been trying to catch up. We've received some grants. We did complete a major corridor, the South Dade corridor with the Metro Express or Bus Rapid Transit, which has been very successful. I know that's no comfort to people that live on the north end, but just to say that a very major project was completed. There is a plan for other corridors to be built, but they depend upon substantial financial investment. So at the current time, I understand we're looking at a new approach to the North Corridor, not necessarily an elevated rail, but maybe another possibility that will be studied and proposed. It would be adopted by our Transportation Planning Organization, or TPO, as the preferred alternative, and then there would be advocacy to obtain the funding. But I can't tell you at all when all of that will happen and whether there will be funds. And it's a source of great frustration to all of us, and especially to people on the north end, right? Because it was promised. And it was promised, unfortunately, and we only got a half a loaf. So that's the reality. Do you want to say anything more about that?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to add a little context for that, the Florida Department of Transportation is preparing what is referred to as a project development and environmental study, which is a federal process associated with the ultimate development of the North Corridor. At the request of the Transportation Planning Organization, they were asked to reassess options or alternatives for different modes of transportation. The preferred alternative was a Metro Rail extension, but they have been requested to look at other alternatives. They are working through that process right now, so unfortunately, that has set them back a little bit, so it will take longer for them to conclude the project development and environmental study.
But ideally, they'll come up with an option that would be more affordable and more attainable than an extension of Metro Rail. While we all prefer an extension of Metro Rail, the price is so very expensive, and we would really need federal money, and the federal government is not prioritizing transit as they were in previous administrations.
Correct. The current price tag associated with the current alignment of an extension of Metro Rail is over $4 billion and does not meet the criteria associated with receiving federal resources.
Okay. Thank you so much, Director Miller and Madam Mayor. So I'm going to go to Team Zoom, and then we're going to queue up 13 and 14.
All right, thank you. This question is from Kevin Kruger. Mayor, with our county and country's overall success attracting sports tourism with this World Cup versus decades of failed spring break toxic tourists and this year's teen takeover nationwide all spring, how may the county continue similar investments that we can host an annual Miami Beach Games the month of March that keeps up our thriving hospitality industry and public safety success?
Well, thank you for the question, and you could see that there's a diversity of opinion about spending a lot of money on sports activities of that sort, which are expensive. I would say this: we are entering a period of greater austerity. We don't have the flexibility that we've had in past years. Any kinds of special projects do require dollars that are diverted from basic county operations. I think it's going to become more difficult for the county to spend money on these sorts of things, but private sector dollars hopefully will flow for sponsorships for these kinds of activities.
Okay, number 13. Thank you. Hi, Madam Mayor. I'm Monica, District 7. So you said we're going to tighten the belt. How does that impact domestic violence prevention? And are there already existing funds that provide for the fire department, first responders like the police officers, et cetera, for their training? And that's required, right?
Absolutely.
And then is that funded already or needs funding?
Yes, thank you for the question, and there's two parts. I'm going to answer the second first about the fire department. Fire department has a dedicated millage that's specifically for their activities. So they are not cutting back on necessary services or training or anything of the sort. If the property tax reform passes, then they will be subjected to major cuts, just like the general fund departments. So I don't know if you want to say more about that, Chief Jadala? Somebody get you a microphone. Melanie, please give the microphone there.
Good evening, everyone. So the Madam Mayor pretty much summed it up. So in the event that we don't have any tax cuts come November, we continue with our operations and our training. Our domestic violence training, it's something that we have done, especially in ports of entry. Our airports, our Port Miami, our fire stations there, they can quickly recognize. And we've expanded, every couple of years where we do what we call refresher training for our individuals to ensure that they are caught up with the latest information that may be out there.
Okay, and thank you for that. So you could see that our fire department, as well as our law enforcement, do get specialized domestic violence training. One of the innovations that we've done in our corrections is to address domestic violence in the jails. So we have special treatment programs for victims, for abusers. We prepare for reentry based on risk of domestic violence. Sadly, domestic violence is on the increase. We do not have cuts to our domestic violence programs in our Community Services Department, and we recognize the critical importance of the programming.
And so I think we're on 14, then Team Zoom.
Hi, Madam Mayor. With property tax cuts looming, and I will be telling everyone I know not to vote for that, wondering if you could speak to the potential impact on renters and folks who rely on affordable housing and other kind of housing services in this county if property taxes are cut. And while I have the mic, I also want to clarify, because it did come up a lot tonight about the ISRA bonds, that state law does govern things around minimum credit ratings, but it cannot require the county to make that investment. And Israel can't require the county to make any investment. The county commission sets the policy, the comptroller makes the investments, and Madam Mayor has the power of the pulpit to maybe speak to both of those folks about how we could invest that money in affordable housing finance development. Those are still part of our investment portfolio that could support affordable housing. But I do want to hear about the impact of the property tax cuts on housing. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And let me mention that it would be, I think, useful to talk about investment opportunities like in housing. Why not? I mean, that's a good thing to address to the board. Now, as far as property tax cut impacts, I'm sorry, specifically on housing, right? On housing. Yeah. So our Housing and Community Development Department is not primarily a general fund department. It receives federal dollars. But there's a lot of conflict going on at the federal government about what is being funded. We've done well with receiving federal grants also for our homeless services. I don't know if anyone is here from the Homeless Trust, but we have very exemplary programming. That to be said, it's always at risk. As far as renters, we do expect that if the property tax on homeowners is reduced, that it is likely that those who would still pay are the non-homeowners, and those are landlords. And so we could expect that rental prices would increase accordingly. As far as dollars that we have to support housing, to the extent that we have federal dollars, to the extent that we have grants, we'll continue our programming. Anything you want to add, Nathan? Okay. Surtax, I wanted to mention surtax. So a big part of our housing program is supported by a percentage or surtax on commercial property deals. I guess the question would be, will commercial property deals be affected? Will we see less real estate development? I think in general, it has been expressed that property tax reform would depress the economy generally, and so it would have a myriad of effects across the economy, not just affect homeowners, and it would really depress the economy. That's what I've understood as part of the analysis.
Thank you for the question. So we're going to go to Team Zoom. Michelle?
Thank you. This question is from Michelle Scanlon from Miami City Ballet. Mayor, please explain how arts and culture and arts education are being incorporated into the upcoming budget planning, and whether you anticipate that funding levels will be similar to last year.
Great, thank you for the question. I'm going to ask Ashley Thomas if you want to address that. Our grants programs continue, and maybe that's where you would want to speak to it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yes, thank you to Miami City Ballet. So as the mayor did mention in this budget, that the grants portfolio is to stay as it was last year. So to our grantees, the levels in which you were granted and awarded previously, if you applied, it will likely be very close to the same. We do have an increase in grantees, so there will be some minor cuts there just because we have more grantees in the portfolio, but the numbers are staying close to the same. So thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, so I was Team Zoom, and now I'm on, am I 15, Jason? Okay, thank you.
Ready for 15?
Yep.
Okay.
Hi, my name is Edith Owens, and I have a question that I want to ask about the school tax. Because in my neighborhood, my elementary school has closed down, the junior high school closed down, but although that closed, the taxes for school right around in this area have gone up. Why is that increasing when schools are being shut down?
All right.
In Miami Gardens?
Thank you, Ms. Owens. And let me say this. The largest portion of the property tax does go to schools in general, higher than to general county government and so on. And it was the one category that in this proposed tax reform was said to be untouched. So in other words, there wouldn't be a reduction forced by that tax reform to reduce on school taxes. So that's just as a general proposition. The school taxes are across the county, so it's not based on where you live and whether schools are open or closed. Everybody's paying the same rate in the county of property tax for education. So it doesn't relate to what's happening specifically in your neighborhood. The school system, which I can't speak to directly because we're not responsible for those decisions, but based on reduced enrollment, they have decided that they can't afford to leave certain schools open. Also, there's legislation that allows private and charter schools to come in and utilize those buildings, and then the school system has to still pay the overhead for those buildings. So these are state laws that were passed that obviously make it more difficult for public schools to maintain high enrollment, but also I've understood that the population of school-aged children has also gone down. So it's not just that children are being diverted, choosing to use vouchers to go to private or charter schools, it's also that there are actually fewer children.
Fantastic. So I'm going to try to speed things up a little bit. We're going to go to question 16 and then Zoom because we do have a hard stop at 8:15. So we're going to try to get through as many questions as we can. I know we started a little late, so we're extending it a little late, but we absolutely want to respect our friends here at the library in terms of the time that we committed to. So let's go to 16, Zoom, and then let's queue up 17 after that.
Okay, I'm sorry. Hello, Mayor. Nice to meet you. My name is Yolanda Davis. I'm the president of Tenant Council in Jolivet. And I want to know what's going to happen with the housing in Annie Coben across the street where the drug addicts live at now. I can't walk that good, and when I did walk in my community, it looked like a garbage dumping back at Annie Coleman, and all of the drug addicts living in all the empty apartments.
I'm so sorry to hear about those challenges, and we don't have anyone from law enforcement. Is that in a city or is it in unincorporated Dade? Unincorporated. So our sheriff office would be responsible directly for safety. But Nathan, do you have anything you could say about safety issues in the perimeter of a public housing project?
Our Director of Housing, Nathan Kogan.
Yes, and I'd like to discuss with you after so I can get some more information, but what we're doing is...
Hold closer to your mouth, please.
We're actively looking at both public security, private security, as well as the police department, and we're going property by property to analyze what's going on. So we're spending more time on the site, and we're going to be putting more resources to that area.
So he's saying that they are going to be assessing security in the area and looking at the possibility of increasing private security as well. So he'll talk to you directly about that.
Absolutely.
Thank you
Make
so
sure
much
to
for
touch
bringing it
base
to our
with them.
attention. Yeah.
Was that 16 or Team Zoom?
Team
16.
Zoom.
Team
All right.
Zoom. Go
Thank you. We have a question from Yulette Assen. It says, hello, a quick question. Does the budget include the arts, specifically independent filmmakers, or incentives for indie filmmakers who create jobs and at the same time help the private sector by making them a part of their project?
Well, thank you so much for the question about the arts and specifically film. And, you know, once upon a time, Florida had a thriving film industry with state incentives which no longer exist, and we created a smaller program in the county which has also run out of funds. So the county is not directly subsidizing, but as far as competition, I'm sure that there are grants available through our Cultural Affairs Department, and our Interim Director Ashley Thomas spoke to that. So the grants are open, and we encourage you to apply.
Oh, all righty. 17, and then 18, then Team Zoom.
Good evening, Madam Mayor. I'm here on behalf of Legal Services of Greater Miami and our eviction diversion partners, including Miami Worker Center, Community Justice Project, Cava Pro Bono Legal Services, Haitian Lawyers Association, and Wilkie Deed, to thank you for your continued support of this important project. We have knocked on thousands of doors. In just the 8 months so far this contract year, we've served over 1,000 clients with eviction cases. And in those cases where we represent, over 80% of the tenants remain stably housed or have time to find stable housing. This project is critical to maintain housing stability and protect families. So thank you for your ongoing support.
Yes, thank you. So important. And that eviction diversion program, which was funded, will be at the same level in the proposed budget. And at the Monday meeting, it was mentioned that in partnership with the Worker Center, 25,000 doors were knocked. And I want to commend you for incorporating that. I think that's been really one of the unique aspects of it. And just a little history, I know we have to go quickly, but back in the day when the eviction ERAP program at the federal government was coming down, we immediately went to work with our partner organizations to do exactly that kind of outreach, and that has proven to be so very, very effective, and we're very grateful for the partnership.
Thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you. 18, and then Team Zoom.
Hello, Mayor.
Hello.
I love this lady. I'm here to ask two things, and basically about the traffic that is here in Miami Garden. I am a resident. It is pure hell. It is not set up for the residents to be able to move around in and out. It is a nightmare. So whatever was supposed to have been done was not, is not.
Are you saying specifically around the games or in
Yes.
general?
Well, it's the games. Any activity, basically. We're the residents, we catch it.
Yes.
And my other thing is about the taxes, okay, where they want to cut taxes, property taxes. It sounds like a good thing, but I want to know for sure before I go and vote, what am I voting on? I don't want to be stuck without the fire department, the libraries, the sewer. I don't want to be in the dark, you know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent question.
It sounds like you're an organizer. Thank you for your remarks. So you have to be educated. When you vote, you need to not just base it on the headline. You need to know what's really behind it. As far as the traffic in Miami Gardens, you know, it's a curse and a blessing, right? But we do have your council person here, Linda Julian, and maybe she could talk to you a little bit further about what they're doing to remediate traffic. And we regret it. And this particular will be over in just like another 2 weeks.
Awesome.
2
Team
weeks.
Zoom?
Oh, yes, our Convention and Visitors Bureau is represented here as well. So they've been a big part of promoting our tourism. Okay.
Okay, great. Thank you. So this question is from Samaya Wade. How is the county addressing data centers like the one being built in Westview, stated to run on 100% carbon-free energy, but will eventually use 100 of millions of gallons of our residents' water?
So thank you for the question. And I spoke earlier today on a podcast that NAACP does with Dr. Ford and spoke at length about this issue. We are looking at whether there could be some changes to our review of permitting of these facilities that would allow a closer scrutiny of water and power usage. Right now, they're evaluated the same as other commercial properties. And also, as what happened with Iron Mountain, which is the project to which you're referring, it came in as a Beacon Council project with incentives, which meant that it came in as a confidential project. So we need to look at how we could allow greater public awareness on projects involving data centers so that the public can be more informed.
Absolutely. 19, 20, and then Team Zoom.
20, raise your hand, please.
Hi,
20.
Mayor. Hi, Mayor Cava. First of all, kudos for balancing the budget, and thank you for your support of arts in the film. I have another transpo logistics question for you that affects every person in business in the county, and you'd be legendary if you're able to solve it. It's something that's probably much bigger than this budget for 1 year. Some years ago, the Herald had an article about a new lighting system that hadn't been put in place, and the software was 10 years out of date, and everything that's associated with that. If you're able to put something like that together, it would calm down the drivers, increase efficiency, everybody lives happily ever after, and who knows, maybe Biscayne Cava Boulevard. Just like to get your thoughts.
Biscayne Cava Boulevard. So you're saying this is lighting that makes everybody calm down?
Well, the lighting system definitely is an opportunity for a solution, and if it was more efficient, people might not be so stressed.
Oh, I see. So it's the lighting that makes them
exactly, the stoplights.
not calm. So we are installing smart lights throughout the county, and there was a bit of a hiccup, and it took longer, as often is the case. Originally, the original company that won the bid was not able to perform, and then the contract had to be reassigned to another company, which is making rapid progress, as I understand it. So what that would mean is that the lights would change based on the flow of traffic. I know how frustrating it is to sit there waiting at a red light when there's no traffic going the other way, so that's would certainly help with blood pressure, mine included. But also traffic circles. They, even though it takes a while sometimes for people to get used to them, they reduce serious accidents, and they do move traffic more smoothly. And I can attest, where I live in Palmetto Bay, as commissioner, I put forward a series of traffic circles that have made the traffic times stuck in traffic reduce significantly.
I'm going to ask people to see the gentleman to start the campaign for Biscayne Cava Boulevard. All right.
That's okay.
I'm
No
on
need,
it.
no need.
Yes. All right. I think we 20. Did you find 20?
20 once,
All
20
right.
twice, 20 gone.
All right. We're going to Team Zoom. And
All
then
right.
21 and 22.
All right, great. So we have a question from Ms. Andrea Hands Archoa. It often feels like unincorporated areas of Miami-Dade County tend to be forgotten as they don't have a municipality associated with it. Are there any dedicated programs and/or investments, particularly to support the development of community centers and essentially third spaces that are available to the unincorporated areas?
Yeah, so about 40% of the county is in unincorporated, right? 60% in cities. And a big reason that people incorporate cities is often to have dedicated dollars for more of those public spaces. Certainly in the unincorporated parts, we do have some community centers, we have libraries, we have parks, but the tax rate in unincorporated is lower in general, making it more difficult to spend those dollars. But we'd love to have more of those. Do you want to speak to it, Christina, from a parks perspective, unincorporated? And I don't know, Ray, if there's anything further you want to say from a budget perspective? Because our park, the county parks we have 400 and something parks, and spread it, so many of them throughout unincorporated as well.
Yes, so we have 309 parks, actually,
Hold it
Mayor.
closer.
309 parks, multiple community centers all throughout. There actually is 2 additional community centers coming online, not necessarily in this area, but down in District 9, and then I think another one in the next couple of years that we're planning. So I'm happy to get with that person that's online to provide additional information.
And I just want to point out again, libraries are very important spaces for public gathering, and they can be used for meetings of all kind, gatherings of friends and neighbors, and programming classes, so many things to do, and we have 51 libraries. So please remember that they're available as well.
All right. I'm going to go to 22, and then 24, and then 26.
Good evening, Mayor. Oftentimes we talk about budget. Miami-Dade County spent approximately $414 million to $424 million annual on mental health in the jail. It costing daily up to $1.2 million every day for mental health. Long-term, 10 years, approximately $2.5 million mental health. It costs taxpayers $1.1 million per day, which is $414 million annual. Tax money we paying. There's something wrong in that system. There's something wrong with mental health.
Yes.
But we paying the price. Just like we had the mental health, $5 million a year, which is $115 million. Stop taxing us on property tax for what the commissioner who making the decision.
Thank you so much for your question.
I'm going to ask our director of corrections and rehabilitation to respond if you could. Thank you, Sharia.
Good evening, everyone. And so corrections, we have a very robust mental health community within our jails. And we have been very instrumental in making sure that we provide all the services that they need. And so we have had a significant decrease of incidents that have occurred with our mental health population, and we are aggressively working with our communities to make sure that they have all the resources that they need. And we have seen very positive results. I'm proud to say that we have seen a 50% decrease in violence in our facilities, and that's because of the proactive approach that we all have with our community as well as our employees.
So it's an investment because corrections is largely general fund or property tax funded. It's an investment in safety inside the jails for our inmates and our employees, as well as to reduce recidivism and prepare people for reentry.
Excellent. Thank you for your question. I think I'm on 24, if I have that correct.
Oh, good evening, Madam Mayor. I'm Reverend Shirlane Stevens, the president of PACT, People Acting for Community Together. And first, I would like to thank you for funding our refunding eviction diversion program, and certainly for all your work in that area. I have a question about transportation. Quite a few of our network members are concerned about transportation. In fact, it's been one of the top issues that we have discussed over the past few years. So I'm curious to get a little bit more information about what cuts will overall impact of transportation.
Yes, thank you. And so you think that transportation will be a core issue for PACT this year?
It's been an issue that...
Yes, an issue that keeps coming up, of course. So People Acting for Community Together is mostly faith-based, and some community organizations organizing around critical community concerns, holding education, neighborhood assemblies to talk about the issues and make sure that elected officials are accountable. So we have our director, Miller, here, and I'd like her to speak to you in more detail. Here she is. We are looking at, again, low-performing bus routes, but we haven't, as possible savings. Our transit system is simply underfunded. The fare box, the number of people that pay full fare, it does not support the system. We are using general fund subsidy, which is fine, but at such a level that it's really difficult to sustain. And we are very committed to making sure that we can increase our ridership and all the things that we've done, but it is an ongoing challenge, and it needs a longer-term solution.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe number 26 is our last question, so we'll wrap up after.
Hi, Mayor. I work for the Miami Workers Center. I'm a canvasser with the Eviction Diversion Project. I think some of our partners here have already spoken on it today, but I wanted to speak on it again. I wanted to give some more accurate numbers. Since the program started, we have knocked on 31,500 doors, and we've connected nearly 6,000 tenants to legal services. What that means is that there have been nearly 32,000 evictions in Miami-Dade County in the time the program has been operating.
Evictions prevented, is that what you're saying?
Evictions filed.
Filed, 32,000 filed. Oh, because you knock on the doors of the people who actually are the subject of eviction proceedings.
Yes, and I believe that that number is very low compared to the reality. So, we've done great work, but I want to continue to see this work being done, and I want to see it even amplified here in the county. Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Madam Mayor, this was a very, very inspiring and invigorating town hall, and I appreciated the conversation. What are your final or parting words? What would you like folks to remember or to know between now and next week when the budget is released?
Well, first of all, thank you to everyone who showed up virtually or in person. Thank you to our incredible staff who have dedicated this evening as well and truly, truly want to be able to do their very best to serve all of you. Let's give them a round of applause, please. Thank you. You who come from the community, take the time to come out on a weekday evening and have this conversation. You are the backbone of our community. As we learned, many of you are here every year, throughout the year. You're communicating with your neighbors, your friends, your family. We need you to spread the word. We need you to tell people that we are open to their ideas, that we want them to be aware of what is in their budget. This is your budget. We want you to understand it. We want to hear from you, and we want to do the best job that we can possibly do to deliver quality services that meet your highest needs and help you to lead productive, thriving lives here in this community. So we value you, We appreciate you. We're in this together. Thank you very, very much for coming.
No, thank you. Thank you. So as we all depart, I want to make a shameless plug for an incredible program that's being put on by Miami-Dade County. It's called our Civics Academy. If you have not had a chance to participate, there's another academy being held here. I believe it's July 23rd. But if you go to the website, you can find that information. Personally, thank everyone for your patience, for your time and your questions and your commitment. And please, please travel safely as you go home.